Welcome back to Everything You Want to Know About, the show where I tell you everything you never wanted to know about the comic book characters you don't care about. Last time we did the most 90s character Marvel has ever made, so I figured this time we could do that for DC. The most 90s thing to come out of DC besides Azrael's bat armor. That joke's funny if you know who Azrael is. Oh, it's still not funny? Oh, okay. This episode, we're talking about the main man, the alien bounty hunter with a bad mouth, DC's answer to Wolverine and Stan Lee's favorite DC character. That's a real thing, you can look it up. You know him, you love him, Lobo! Let's get talking about the alien anti-hero bounty hunter warrior, Lobo. Lobo first appeared in the Green Lantern spin-off book Omega Men, specifically Omega Men number 3 in June of 1983. He was created by Rob Sliger and Keith Geffen. Lobo was created to be a satire of all the hyper-violent and bigger-in-life characters that were starting to take off at the time. I would say in that respect, Lobo was a bit ahead of his time. Although characters like that would start in the 80s, they wouldn't get popular until the dark age of comics. The ironic part being that Lobo became loved for his hyper-violence and over-the-top attitude, all the things he is meant to satirize. Keith Geffen in 2006 said, "I have no idea why Lobo took off. I came up with him as an indictment of the Punisher Wolverine hero prototype, and somehow he caught on as the high-violent poster boy. Go figure." When Lobo was first introduced, he was a pretty different character, even having a different origin story. Originally, Lobo was a Valorpian whose entire race had been exterminated by the Scions. Lobo then jumped from the Omega Men to the Justice League International and became a regular in Legion and Rebels. And now that the 90s were kicking off, it was time to retcon Lobo and give him a fresh new coat of paint. His new origin was told in the miniseries Lobo the Last Caesarian. We will go into that in detail a little bit later in this video. After the miniseries, Lobo's popularity started taking off. You get more miniseries and was also known for his crazier specials like Lobocop, Blazing Chain of Love, and Paramilitary Christmas Special, where he was hired by the Easter Bunny to kill Santa Claus. Yep, that's pretty awesome. Since then, he's become a major staple in the DC Universe and is seen as part of Superman's Rogue Gallery. Now, if you don't know about Lobo, you might be asking yourself, hey, he looks pretty cool, does he have any powers? Well, boy howdy, let me tell you about Lobo's powers. Well, not a power at first. First and foremost, he is an intergalactic bounty hunter with one rule. I have one rule. And it's different from Batman's one rule. His one rule is that he completes the contract. If you need someone killed, Lobo is your man. He'll do anything possible to complete the contract, even if it means wiping out an entire planet in the process. Outside of his strong work ethic, Lobo does have superpowers. He is super strong, super durable, he can even take a full-on punch from Superman and keep going. His most recognizable and useful power, however, is his regeneration. Lobo has a massive regeneration ability, so much so that most think he is impossible to kill. He has regrown his entire body from just a severed head. He also has heightened senses, super speed, and even make copies of himself from drops of blood. If you think Superman has too many powers, you want to stay clear of Lobo. Lobo was born on Caesarnia, which makes him the last Caesarian. His name roughly translates to "he who devours your entrails and thoroughly enjoys it."
Oh, pretty metal.
That's pretty metal. Caesarnia was a peaceful planet before Lobo was born. As soon as Lobo was born, he started wreaking havoc, and I mean literally as soon as he was born. When he was born, he bit the fingers off the nurse that birthed him and chased her around the hospital while wielding scalpels. At a very young age, Lobo wanted to stand out from everyone, so he took on his iconic biker look at the ripe young age of 7. As a teen, he joined a band and then killed them all off.
Oh, pretty metal.
He would then later force doctors at gunpoint to implant a radio in his brain so he can listen to rock music at all times. By the time he had turned 16, he already killed off half his planet, and finally, once he turned 17, as a science project, he released a plague of flying scorpions and killed off everyone on his entire planet. Once he killed everyone off, he became bored, and that's when he decided to become a bounty hunter. Also, at some point in this time, he got pet space dolphins, because of course Lobo has pet space dolphins. Now that the basics of Lobo are in place, the thing with Lobo is that he doesn't get a lot of character progression or any real changes, at least not for a while. I'll try and fit more pieces into this video and make sure you get your money's worth, but again, there's not a whole lot that they've changed and done with Lobo. Now, at one point, Lobo was tricked into joining the Interstellar Police Force Legion. However, he was still a bounty hunter on the side, but after an altercation with the leader of Legion, Lobo was released from his service and went back to being a full-time bounty hunter. After an extended hiatus, DC returned in the pages of DC's big event, 52. Lobo was shown to be a spiritual leader of an entire sector and was the caretaker of the Emerald Eye of Ekron. After helping Adam Strange, Animal Man, and Starfire defeat Lady Styx, he brought the Emerald Eye to the three-headed fish god, and the fish god released Lobo from his vow of non-violence, and then Lobo then killed the fish god.
I have no idea what that means.
A couple more quick things. During the Brightest Day event, Lobo briefly became a Red Lantern, and soon after that he was recruited by Vril Dox to join Rebels. Lobo was the key to defeating Starro the Conqueror once, and also at this time the Scion race was trying to use clones of Lobo to bring back the Caesarian race. Unfortunately, the series that had all this was cancelled before everything could play out. Now, for one of Lobo's most controversial times in his history. When DC rebooted their universe and created the New 52, a lot of characters got new designs, and Lobo maybe got the biggest change out of all of them. Are you ready for this? This is the New 52 version of Lobo. Yep, gone is his over-the-top, ugly biker mystique, and now we have the cool, collected, lame Lobo. He had a solo series that ran for 13 issues, where it was also revealed that the Lobo that we've come to love and adore in the 90s was an imposter, and this was the real Lobo. This version had a different backstory as well. He was the bodyguard of the Caesarian royal family, and when the family's blood pool, which granted them longer life, was tainted, the family and the rest of the planet started to go insane, so Lobo had to kill them all. Yeah, big swing and a miss by DC editorial in this version, seriously.
What were they thinking with this shitload of fuck?
But fear not, loyal Lobo fans, as the main man returned in DC Rebirth. I've tried to describe DC Rebirth on this show a few times, and I just can't. But basically, it's just a big do-over for all of DC. The normal biker version of Lobo returned in Justice League vs. Suicide Squad. Lobo was being controlled by Maxwell Lord, so Batman blew up Lobo's head in hopes that when he reformed he would be himself, and it worked. Batman at the end of the series asked Lobo to join the Justice League, which he accepted. And now Lobo has a daughter named Crush who joined the Teen Titans. And currently you can see him teaming up with Crush in Crush and Lobo. It's only on the second issue, so I don't really have a lot to report at the moment. But that's currently where Lobo's at in the comics. So let's finish up by talking about the other places in media Lobo has popped up in. First time we see Lobo outside of the comics is in Superman the Animated Series, voiced by Brad Garrett. I feel like a lot of people my age were introduced to Lobo from this cartoon. They got most of Lobo down. He stands toe-to-toe with Supes. The only thing we really don't see is his healing factor. This version of Lobo also showed up in the Justice League cartoon, which is set in that same universe. He'd pop up again in Young Justice, voiced by David Sabavel, and then I thought this part was pretty funny. He showed up in Justice League Action, voiced by Bender himself, John DiMaggio. And his first and only, at least as of this recording, live action appearance was in Krypton, played by Emmett Scanlon. Now this was a good technical version of Lobo. They had his bike, his chain, his attitude, his healing factor, but then they gave him some sort of weird Jack Sparrow voice.
Name's Lobo. Please stop, you're making me blush. Couple of questions. First question, who are you two shitbirds? And second question, what are you doing on this shithole of a planet?
It's pretty odd. And the last time, again as of this recording, we've seen Lobo outside the comics was in the very recent Superman Man of Tomorrow, where he's paid to hunt down a young version of Superman. I actually really enjoyed this cartoon or this movie. You should definitely check it out. But speaking of movies, the idea of a Lobo movie has been kicked around for over 19 years. Back in 2009, Guy Ritchie was set to direct a Lobo movie where he'd be coming to Earth to catch criminal aliens bent on wreaking havoc. It was set to begin production in 2010, but Ritchie left the film to do Sherlock Holmes. It was revived again in 2012 with Brad Payton of San Andreas fame set as to direct and The Rock set to play the main man. But in 2013, The Rock left the project to play Black Adam, which of course we are still waiting to see. And finally, in 2018, inspired by the success of Deadpool, DC Films has eyed director Michael Bay to do a low-budget version of Lobo. But as of right now, there's no news if we'll ever see the biker bounty hunter on the big screen anytime soon. And there you have it, folks, the nitty-gritty of the grittiest of all DC characters, Lobo. He doesn't have a lot of history, but he's always fun when he pops up in comics. So what are your thoughts on Lobo? Is he a fun setup of the dark age of comics, or is he an overpowered annoyance? And who do you think should play him in a movie? Let me know in those comments below, and let me know if there's any other characters you'd like to see me cover on this show. I'm always up for additional ideas. Well, I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. Until next time, hold on to your hold slots.